Hey guys, so to get Daido Moriyama's signature look, we're going to start off with a photo that was taken with hard monotone profile on the Ricoh GR3. There are raw matching profiles, camera matching profiles for raw files in Lightroom. Unfortunately, they don't have the high contrast black and white, which is the one that Moriyama was best known for. But he uses the GR series, he used it in film, and he's been using the digital ones. So there's a great starting point to try to nail the kind of look and feel of his photos. So I'm using the J key here just to show where I'm going, crushing the black and blowing out the highlights. Moriyama is very comfortable going all the way to black or to white. He doesn't do a lot with gray. There's a lot of really high contrast, and as you can see, I'm using ISO 4000. So we actually want the noise here. Noise and grain are part of the look that he's best known for. He was part of this movement a little while back in the sort of 60s and 70s called bure, bokeh, which means grainy, blurry, and out of focus. So what we're doing here is we're kind of pushing to make the image kind of almost more like that photocopier effect, pushing the darks through to black, pushing the whites to pure white. So we've taken out some texture because the Ricoh GR3 lens is so sharp. Adding clarity basically just increases contrast on a small level. We're going to tilt it a little bit to give it a bit more of that kind of chaotic energy. Give it that kind of off-kilter feel that characterizes so much of his work. And I think we're going to add grain. Again, opinions divided on digital grain. I'm going to show how to do it, but maybe you don't want to go there. Some of his more recent images are cleaner with the digital cameras. So he has changed a little bit over the years, but some of his most famous photos are super grainy. He's using black and white film that it looks like he's pushed to the absolute limit. So we want to kind of emulate that really rough, high contrast effect. Now I'm going to just copy these edit settings over. What you'll find is if you try to copy all the edit settings all in one go, you might find that your profile is missing if you work in between different cameras. So you can start in Adobe Monochrome, and most of what I've been doing here will carry over. This is inspired by one of his most famous photos. It was a dog he saw in the 1970s, early 70s. And one of the things I thought is really striking about it is the eyes. They really kind of leap out from the face. They're not, very sharp or very detailed, but they really kind of haunt you. It almost looks like something out of a horror story or a fairy tale wolf. Looks like it's going to eat you. So I'm masking out this guy's head just with a brush. There are eye recognition tools, but I don't think we need to use them here. Raising the whites, raising the highlights. If I add clarity, you can see it's going to make the eye darker. I do actually want to add clarity, but that means I need to raise the exposure to compensate. Great. So you can start to see a little glint in the eye there underneath those big bushy eyebrows. And yeah, you don't want to go all the way to white as well. You want kind of light grays. You could have masked out the floor as well. you could just raise the whites to 100 and then reduce the white point and the tone curve if you wanted to. This photo, I mean, look, street photography, we all love umbrellas. Daido Moriyama loves an umbrella. I'm gonna kind of level this one because I think it just suits the photo. But I don't think Daido Moriyama has ever leveled a photo in his entire life. I just like the rule of three here. You've got two black umbrellas and in the background and then a woman carrying a white one. It's kind of striking and fun. Couldn't really resist it. I really like the mixture of colors in the floor as well. Actually just going to reduce the grain a little bit. I don't think this particular photo needs it. I got one here with not only an umbrella but dogs as well. So I feel like I'm really hitting the Moriyama bingo here. And I'm going to put the grain back. It needs to be a bit brighter because you're completely losing her face. I mean, there are photos where you don't see faces at all in Moriyama's work. Sometimes they're obscured, sometimes they simply get lost in shadow. One thing I'm not doing is trying to compose away all of the messiness, the bins, people living on the streets. Moriyama was part of this 60s magazine called Provoke, which was very opposed to like bourgeois values. And so I guess I think of it kind of as quite punk. I don't know if he could strictly be seen as part of the punk scene, but it definitely has some of the same spirit. I love this coat, by the way. Totally obsessed with this. And the eyes are such a common feature in his work. If I was going to do this really like Moriyama, I would probably crop in really tightly so you barely get any background. But instead, I'm just going to apply a lens blur. I don't tend to shoot much wide open. I'm kind of doing this to demonstrate what's possible. I don't really like that little bit of jacket that you can see on the left-hand side of the figure. So you can use this lens blur tool. When you visualize depth, it shows you what it thinks is the depth of field. And then you can play around with it. You can also sample. So there's this point area focus. And if you click the target, you can select the area you want to be in focus and it will kind of approximate what it thinks is about right. It's pretty close. It's kind of messy around the shoulder. It's definitely not perfect, this. I'm sure they'll get it over time, but really you want to do this stuff in camera. It's kind of interesting to me that bure and bokeh are not the same thing. Blurriness could be motion blur, could be bokeh as we understand it, out of focus areas. The cola thing is interesting. I think he was very influenced by Andy Warhol and that whole kind of scene. This could work as a X-pan. It could work as a few different ratios. For this one, I'm gonna go in really close because I think it's just kind of super creepy. Looks quite startling to see the eye so big, and of course we're not worried about low res, we're not worried about noise. That's completely par for the course. So cats are another feature that runs through Moriyama's work. He loves black cats. Instagram does not. It's very hard to take photos of black cats when you're kind of trying to meter for the rest of the scene, as you can see here. I think he's often quite comfortable with cats just being a kind of black shape. I don't think he's going to spend a lot of time kind of pulling out more detail and doing elaborate edits. But for this particular photo, what I want to do is just try and pull out the eyes, get a bit more texture in the fur. So I'm adding contrast and pulling the whites up to 100. I'm going to raise the exposure as well. I love that there's two cats here. There's one kind of sentinel in the background, and then there's this one in the kind of unusual pose, like it's just been confronted. I promise I wasn't trying to scare it. It's just skittish. I think increasing the texture adds a little bit of to the fur. You can see this lens blur thing it's feels like a beta feature really. The cat's super blurry, the car isn't. I'm just going to select the foreground and see what it thinks is going on. You can see the color coded depth of field here. So I'm going to pull it back until it's just beneath the cat, and we'll see if we can get the car a little bit blurry as well. I think it's okay. In all honesty, if I was shooting to order, I would definitely just be shooting on film. I would shoot wide open. But yeah, this is my Moriyama edit. Add loads of grain, crush the blacks. Don't worry about motion blur. Enjoy finding those umbrellas and dogs and cats, and celebrate the messiness of life, like real reality. It's not about beautiful art, it's about reality as it is. I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm always doing new edits inspired by other artists. And yeah, thanks for watching.